My dudes, what's up? We got the 2018 Red Bull Straight Rhythm Replica JPD Jack Pair Designs, I'm pretty sure. So, on the 125 banger, because this track is obviously made for 2 strokes, because the real life track was 2 strokes only. So, yeah, I just thought it would be better if I got on the 125 here, but this, let's just be honest, this RM 125 is basically a 252 stroke anyways. So yeah, so overall I thought the track was pretty well made. I think that it's about as good as you can make this kind of track. I mean, I have actually made a Red Bull Straight Rhythm replica before. It was a 2014 Red Bull Straight Rhythm replica. You can go look that up on my front page on my custom tracks. You can find it on there. But yeah, it's, I mean, you know, the straight rhythm, it's kind of very similar every year. It's not like, I mean, obviously you only have just a straight track, you know, no corners, pretty much the same kind of stadium type of thing going on. I know this one is actually technically in a little bit of a different place than it has been in previous years in real life, but it's still pretty standard. You know, you kind of got like the bit of the pit area on both sides all the way down, and then at the very end on the right side, that's like the viewing area for the finish line, right? So you could just about make the off track of a Red Bull Straight Rhythm with your eyes closed just from seeing it in previous years, because it's pretty much the exact same. So as far as that goes, I mean, it's just the Red Bull Straight Rhythm, man. But obviously this has got all the cool custom like Red Bull start area, you know, where it's actually the start. They start in the, whatever you want to call that, like the little tunnel start with the metal grade, and then you come out of there like that. You come off the top like that, and then it's obviously got the white line drawn down the center, which is a really nice touch. It's got all those little touches to it. I think all I really had on mine was like Red Bull. I think I just had like Red Bull tough blocks or something, maybe. I think that's all I actually ended up putting on mine. So it's cool to see all of these custom objects in MX Simulator. I don't know who went in there and actually made each one of those Red Bull objects. I know that Red Bull, let me back this up just a little. You can see off there to the left that Red Bull arch. That's been in the game forever. I've actually used that on a couple of my tracks. Then you've got the Red Bull actual semi over there. Couple of little Red Bull objects here and there, so that was nice to see that. But either way, as far as the track design and all that, oh yeah, and it actually does have this, you see it, that Red Bull Straight Rhythm. I don't even know what that is technically. Is that like is that a decal? It's got to be a decal, right? I don't know how they actually made it look like that. It's pretty cool how they was able to do that. You guys know how in real life it's got that kind of on the jump faces there, so. But for me, I felt like the on-track on this was pretty well made as far as like what it looked like from real life. You know, obviously if you hop on this track on a 450, you can automatically tell it was not made for 450s. You're going to be like hitting all these random massive jumps that you feel like you're not really meant to hit. But this track does feel proper distance-wise. That was a big thing, you know, to think about with MX Simulator. A lot of times the tracks can't get that long, but this one feels really, really long, bro. That's what she said. But basically, like when you're riding back to the start, if you're just messing around, you're not actually trying to restart it, you know, just trying to go back to the start straight, like you feel like you're sitting here forever just trying to ride back to the start of the straight rhythm. So I don't know if they somehow expanded. This feels longer than the longest distance you can have on a custom track map. I don't know if they somehow expanded it in some kind of way, you know, made it bigger than the standard default blank custom track. If there's a way to do that, let me know how to do that down in the comments, because I actually need that for certain types of tracks. I don't even know if you can do that, but it feels like it is. Let me see. So technically, let's zoom this out a little. I guess maybe it's not. I mean, that does kind of look like the standard, you know, the standard distance of it, but for whatever reason, in-game, it feels really, really long, really far in distance. Like on my straight rhythm track, I actually started it in the corner over here and ran it all the way down, simply trying to get as much length of the track as I could possibly get it. But I guess the scaling, like you could technically have a square like this that's ginormous, but it doesn't look like it because you're looking at it so far zoomed out. You understand what I'm saying? So it's all like relative. I don't know if you can actually make different map sizes on MX Simulator. I don't know if that's even possible. Let me know in the comments, because I I've never really had a lot of occasions where I've even had to, have it on that, basically, where I've actually had to have like a bigger, longer track or whatever the case may be. There just hasn't really been a whole lot of occasions where I've needed that. So I've never really been like, oh crap, this map's too small, let me try to go in there and figure out how to make it bigger. So I don't even know if you can do that, but either way, a lot of your sections obviously very similar, reminiscent to the real life Red Bull Straight Rhythm. I did actually watch the full 2018 Red Bull Straight Rhythm. It was really, really cool to see Villopoto barely get it where he got where he could go against Dungey when he was going against Josh Grant. I was like, oh my god, dude. My heart was thumping on that one. I was like, go, 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 bro. And then him racing Dungey, he, definitely didn't really perform as well on that one. But Dungey was looking good. Dungey's not as many years out of retirement as Villopoto is, and Dungey's on the same manufacturer and Villopoto's not, so it's a little bit of a different comparison than being like, oh, this is legit Villopoto versus Dungey. You can't really say that as much as you could have like back when they were both racing in their prime, but it is what it is. And I feel like Dungey going to KTM really hurt him there the first couple years he was doing that, so it's hard to really compare like who actually is the best. But obviously Villopoto was smoking them 4 years in a row when they were all going strong. So yeah, I mean, you definitely cannot deny what Villopoto was able to accomplish on that. But either way, you can see the cool Red Bull signature thing right there. It's just overall decent. It's what I would say is like, what I expect from a, legit MX Simulator real life replica style track. This is what I expect to see like every year for this game. This is definitely what, I don't even know if they did actually run a pro race on this. I'm guessing they did. If not, if they didn't, they definitely could have. This is that like AMA level design track for the game for sure. But you got all your kind of like sections where you have to slow back down, and had a couple of these just bigger doubles that you could kind of float across for the two-stroke racing here. You could hit some of these bigger, like that right there. You could definitely hook this wall and jump all the way into some of those jumps down there, but you'd probably be losing time and it'd be risky as hell. It'd be like a, one of those kind of flip of the coin if you're gonna pop off the bike when you land or not. But I don't really know. It's definitely cool to get back on like a two-stroke on a track like this. I'm really surprised they did that in real life, two strokes only on it. I feel like personally the numbers must be going down for the straight rhythm. For them to just totally take out the 450s and have it two strokes only is like they were really trying to make it kind of crazy and new and something different and pull new people to it, as if there wasn't enough people watching it. So I'm a little concerned on that as far as like future Red Bull straight rhythms. I don't know how many more years we're going to see it, but I don't think it's as popular of a thing as like the Monster Cup and stuff like that. You just don't see all your top riders riding straight rhythm, especially this year. Like, all you really had was Dungey and Villopoto, and they're not even racing in real life anymore. And other than that, it's just like 250 boys in there. There was no other big, it wasn't like Tomac, Barsha, Anderson, none of them guys raced, which it was two-stroke only. Like, I get it, but even some of the previous years, I felt like it was very shaved down from what, the big amount of AMA 450 riders that have been racing at that current point in time. Very little of them actually run the Red Bull straight rhythm. So, because it's not really like, it's just a totally different animal with the, running straights instead of laps, no corners. It's a far stretch from actually being like a supercross training race. Very, very different than that. But overall, I like the ground decal, like the background, like every aspect to it. I don't really have any big complaints on it here. That 2014 one, they had it to where like one section about in this area, it like did one of those sort of Y-off type of things where it went into the sand and then it came back around. That was really cool how they had that. I think that might have been the first year they did it, was 14. So that was kind of cool to see that back in the day. It was either 14 or 15. Can't remember which one. But either way, it was cool to. I felt like the finish line in real life was a little little bit small. I think on this track right here, they make it feel a little bit bigger than it felt in real life, but I also think the whoop section wasn't quite as long in real life, but obviously this guy is just replicating whatever it was in real life, and I think he did a pretty good job on it. You know, as far as like when you're riding on it in the game, you feel like you're hitting the same rhythms they were hitting in real life, basically. So that was nice to see that. He's got the little, whatever that is, like a horse track or whatnot right there. So I guess that's kind of what they're using here. But either way, man, yeah, it's about all I can really think to say to it. I just hope, I don't know. The straight rhythm, it's a tough... It's like it's almost not even a big enough of a thing to have it like a every year type of series thing. You know what I mean? Even though I think it should be, and I think it's just as cool as any other kind of series, it's interesting. It would be cool to see them go out on a crazy limb and do like a square rhythm track one year or something like that. You know what I mean? Or just something super weird where it's like really long straightaways like this, but it's in a humongous square. So even though you do have corners, 4 corners, it's not like, you know, the type of corners you normally expect in the straightaways that you normally expect on a normal track. It'd be really cool if they did that, you know, like really long straightaways like a straight rhythm track, but just 4 of them in a square rhythm like that. So that would be hella interesting if they did that. But it's just, you're kind of seeing the same thing every year. I feel like that's why a lot of people are getting a little bit tired of it. You're not seeing the amount of excitement that you normally do for it. I mean, you can only do so much with one straight line of Supercross rhythms. Like, there's only so much you can do with that, man. So it's that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day there. But either way, I'm going to give this thing a... I mean, it's about as accurate as you could get it. I don't really know... Like, when I'm sitting here trying to think of complaints in my mind, I can't think of any. The objects are nice. They're legit, real Red Bull, like, straight rhythm objects and all that kind of stuff. I mean, in all honesty, like, when it comes down to it, I just don't see much more he could have added to make it any better. Like, I really don't. Sections feel great. I mean, obviously, the track is very... Like, the left side feels exactly like the right side, which is not exactly how it is in real life. You know what I'm saying? It's more of like what you call a unrealistic, perfectly built, as far as like ruts and differing of jump face. You know, like there's not a lower face on the left side than the right side. It's like you just went down through there and built this entire straightaway on both the left and the right side, so it's perfectly even, which you can't have in real life. It's impossible to get it perfectly even like that in real life, especially when they start riding on it. But in a video game like this, you can go down through there and literally build the right exactly like the left, and not having a road on it, it would keep both the left and the right side perfectly even. So there would be none of that bullshit where it's like, oh, the left side's faster, oh, the right side's faster, but it does lose a little bit of the realism in that sense. You see what I'm saying? Because you feel like you're on this super, like, almost an unrealistic feeling of how perfect the jump faces are built on it. But at the same time, that's just about how good you could do it in MX Simulator anyway. So, overall, I think you're looking at somewhere like a 9. I mean, I don't know, though. It's like certain objects here and there, you know, obviously it gets a little more basic in some areas, but that's about the only complaint I can even remotely come up with in my mind. And maybe some of the graphical, I mean, this right here, it's like copy, paste buildings. So there is a little bit of that going on, trying to like fill out some of the off track, which I think it's fine. Like, I think it's fine. I just think it's kind of like right there somewhere in that 9 range. That's where I would put it. So either way, man, yeah, 9 overall, and you're looking at probably medium difficulty. If you're on a 450, you're going to be able to hit some crazy stuff, but if you're on a 2-stroke, you're going to keep your speed down fairly well on it, so it's not going to be super hard to hit some of this stuff. You got different options of skimming on top of the tabletops or jumping all the way over and stuff like that. So either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.